let's keep going.
You guys complete all 7 spots.
Short.
A lot of trash talking. I had no part in making the teams. I just feel like the Luka Ty pairing and the Bo Jake pairing were a little unfair. Particularly when, I'm not going to name names, particularly when one of my teammates decided to eat through the majority of the tournament.
Like
Just like he was eating food, watching me and the other teammate I had play. The other team I had play, you can probably figure out who that is. Not the best pickleball player in the world, love him to death, but just, I felt like I woke up this morning, my back just was, it hurt from carrying us to the semifinals.
Yeah.
But no, it was great. AR, Luca, Jackson even have a little bit of background in racket sports, so it was good to see those guys compete in something else, but it was awesome. The King has his own custom paddles, didn't know that, found that out yesterday, so a lot of good stuff.
How is LeBron at pickleball?
That's a St. Jean question. I'll let Greg answer that.
Sure, he took that well. Health-wise, are you guys good for tomorrow?
Yeah, the only thing that popped up, DA has an illness today. The doctor recommended that he stayed away from the team, so he'll meet us on the plane, but he was out of practice, but everybody else good to go.
We had the pickleball tournament. It's really rare to get this much time in between games. Once the season starts. How do you feel like the group benefited from this week, from the past few days?
Yeah, we got through this week without wanting to kill each other. So that was good.
You just like a pickleball tournament?
Yeah, I mean, no, I think sometimes like I lived it as a player. When you have these stretches, when you're competing against each other, it just naturally gets a little chippy. And we've had a couple chippy practices this week, what I view as like a really good thing. And it can also get a little monotonous. And so using yesterday as like individual work in the morning, they had an NBPA awareness meeting for an hour change. It was a really good opportunity for us to just have some fun together. And I'd give yesterday an A. Today's practice was great, so I feel like getting through this week, healthy, and getting through this week where we feel like we got better on some stuff, but also, broke up the monotony a little bit was good.
With the way Utah plays, how does that challenge and stress your defense, especially early on, until you guys got it figured out?
They're gonna get stuff because they're really good at running off-ball action. I used the analogy the other day. It's a little bit like Golden State. If you start making up your own rules, you're going to give up everything. So, just we've got to be more disciplined. I thought we were a little more disciplined in the second half, and that was reflected in their shot quality. That was reflected in their point total. We're going to tweak some things in our coverage, our game plan coverage, but overall, it's just being disciplined in our off-ball action. That's the biggest stress point.
What did you like from Adu last night in his first G League game?
Yeah, he just looked comfortable. I liked his ball pressure. I thought defensively, he was in a stance a lot, which you got guys that are 8 years in that have a hard time getting in a stance on every defensive possession. For him to do that, in his first extended period was really good. The athleticism obviously tops. thought some of the stampede drives were really good, just attacking the rim, getting to the foul line. So overall, really pleased with how he played.
Can you put your old TV pundit hat back on for a second? And what do you think Chris Paul's legacy will be in this game?
It'll be whatever people decide it is. I'm not going to craft the narrative. I just know him as a human being and a teammate and a brother. And the arc of our relationship is very interesting, from going for a decade plus of quite literally hating each other to feeling like he's a part of my family, and getting to watch him evolve as a player, as a competitor, as a leader in the later stages, particularly after I retired, has been actually really fun for me. It's, I think, rare that you see guys who have accomplished as much as he's accomplished to grow in the ways that he grew, both as a player and a person. And we used to talk about this with the Clippers all the time, like squeezing the juice out of a possession, and he was the master at that. He squeezed the juice out of every possession, and that's like the micro version of him, is just manipulating the game, thinking the game, squeezing the juice out of every possession. He squeezed the juice out of his career. He's done that for over 2 decades, and it's remarkable for a player his size to be able to compete at that level for so long and so consistently. The game will miss him. I'll say that. The game will miss him, and I'm sure we'll have some amazing opportunities in retirement.
Is there an on-court player moment in your time with him that stands out?
My rookie year, I was in a suit, and this is when we hated each other. And he came over during a dead ball. He was in the left corner, and I was behind the bench. And he goes, "Yeah, this is a lot different from college, isn't it, JJ?" And I said, "I fucking hate that guy."
That tracks.
Why did he pick you out?
ACC.
Yeah.
Okay, but
We had our battles, but no, he. When I was his teammate, the thing that I loved the most was our nonverbal synergy, and it's hard to capture that in like a single play or a single moment. But I always talk about teams feeling like an organism that function together, and when a team is really functioning together, there's a connective tissue to that. And I don't think there was a player that I played with that I felt more of a connective tissue than Chris Paul.
JJ, I'm glad you brought up that Chris Paul story, because like you being a former player, how much do you use that to your coaching, like with a lot of situations? Do you still use that, like some of your stories that you had, and bring that to coaching too as well, knowing how you felt in certain moments with rookies, all the way to vets, to when you were the guy making a lot of money, a ton of money too as well? So I just wanted to ask you about that.
I would say it generally helps with empathy for what each player is going through, because outside of being an all-star and a superstar, like I played every role in this league. I went through every evolution of being a behind the bench guy to a bench guy to a DNP guy to a rotation player to a full-time starter to all that stuff. So I can kind of empathize with all that stuff, and those are typically done more individually. Guys don't want to hear me talk about my career as part of the team, so I've maybe done that 3 times.
Do you think a lot of
Last 2.
former players, especially with the young group, when the older guys talk, I feel like they don't really listen as much, because it's like, oh, you got to show me more so? How do you feel like the difference is when you first came into the league and you see the new group and wave of young talent, how they are receptive to coaching to now in this decade?
I don't necessarily think it's the dynamic is different. There's probably some stereotypes about young players or stereotypes about vets. My experience, and I've been lucky, I've been on a lot of very functional, high-achieving teams. The communication lines have always been really good, and both parties, whether it's coaches, players, young players, old players, everybody's receptive to feedback. And I think a good team, one of the hallmarks is you are open to problem solving. I think that's all part of being a vet. That's part of being a young guy. It's part of being a coach.
What do you think is one of the most underrated parts of maybe Chris Paul's legacy, whether that's on or off the court as a basketball player?
Yeah, again, I hate saying this. I hope he doesn't win an NBA championship because that would mean the Clippers win an NBA championship and we don't. But to me, he's the ultimate winner. And I have said this. There's a guy that works in the NBA that I've known for almost 20 years now, and we talk about this all the time. There's guys that have won championships that I wouldn't say are winning players, and there's guys that have never won a championship that to me are the ultimate winners, and that's who Chris Paul is. He's the ultimate winner.
Oh man, I was all right. I wasn't prepared for it, but we lost in the semifinals. I was actually with JJ. Me and JJ was on teams. We lost to Luka and Ty. We should have beat them, but we kind of lost focus. It was late in the day. So we was ready to go home.
So I don't mean to call you out, but you said you were a team with JJ?
I was a team
So
with
you're
JJ.
just telling us about how you had a teammate who was kind of...
It wasn't me. It was three of us. I ain't gonna mention another one. I wasn't gonna mention another one. So it wasn't me. I was holding my own. So.
That's your first time playing pickleball? Have you
No,
played
that's not my
before?
first time.
Okay.
I don't play. I rather play actual tennis than pickleball.
Really?
But it's not my first time. I don't play it as often.
Are you as competitive and stuff like that as you are on the
For
basketball
sure,
court?
and that's a problem. So I had to kind of go easy. I'm like, the last thing I need to get out here and do is roll an ankle trying to play pickleball. It's the last thing I need to do. So.
How important is having those extra curricular activities with your teammates, and you could kind of see that in the last game how close of a unit you guys are,
Yeah.
and how important is having those type of things.
It's huge, man. The camaraderie that we're building, for a lot of us, me, Jake, DeAndre, this is a new team for us. And, we're getting to learn everybody's, tendencies, what they like to do and what they don't like to do. And that takes time. And we spend a lot of time on the court, but a lot of that is, in the structure where, we got to be, professional, locked in. And you don't really get to, really sense and feel people out. Whereas, when you get to go play pickleball and stuff like that, you get to laugh a little bit more. People let their guards down, open up a little bit more about their life, and you get to learn a lot more about it.
Jake was talking the other day about how your quote about the toughest team sets the rules, especially how that applies to defense. Just kind of how would you kind of sum up what the team's defensive identity has been?
Definitely. I mean, I live by that quote. And I think, we see it every day, when one team comes out and they're more aggressive and everything goes their way, from the way that they get calls to the way that the ball falls, the way that they get loose balls, the way that the shots fall that probably wouldn't fall, and things of that nature. But for us, I think, we have a long way to go, but we like where we're going in the direction that we're heading. I would probably say right now we're at a B-. Kind of let some things slip. We got to clean up a lot of things, but I like the direction we're going. I like the attention to detail we're trying to go in every game with, and trying to come out with an outcome of being a great defense team.
You played in multiple big games against LeBron, including the conference finals. What was it like to actually be able to have him as a teammate for the first time was on Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, we hear it all the time, and everybody knows, his IQ when it comes to the game is on another level. So, and I think my IQ is up there with some of these guys too on another level. So to be able to learn and pick his brain and be on the court with him and reading him on the court, it definitely feels different. It feels good actually, to play with another guy who can think the game just as quickly as I can and understands it more than I do. So it's great to have him out there, and I think we all benefit from being out there.
Regarding the defense, JJ's called you kind of the quarterback of the defense, and he said, once we get LeBron, then we'll have two quarterbacks. What's kind of that defensive communication, that defensive synergy that both of you guys kind of understanding and following that?
Great. We're just picking off of one another. Some things that I don't see, he picks up, and whatever he doesn't see, I try to pick up. And we try to keep a voice out there that somebody that this team can hear and lean on. At times get hard on that defensive end because we got a lot of talent in this league and it's not easy guarding. So sometimes everybody, myself included, and probably LeBron too, but we all need some help out there. So if we can have that voice constant telling us what we need to do, what we need to be, it helps us a lot.
Two more.
How's your health, right now, where you were last year all the way, now to this point, and you look really good, and just wanted to ask you how things are progressing with you.
Everything is great. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. I thank God every day that I'm able to wake up and get an opportunity to let my body heal and get back to it. The last 2 years for me was devastating. Couldn't stay on the court. Things that I couldn't control. control injuries, dislocated finger, torn ligaments, stuff that just kind of happens and you just have to deal with it. So, but I'm in a great place right now, and I'm trying to stay that way. The coaching staff, the medical staff does a good job, and the training staff making sure that, I got everything I need to make sure I can stay in this tip-top shape of health that I'm in now.
Jake talked yesterday about learning to play differently when different guys come back. Like when LeBron comes back and things change. And for you, how have you kind of adjusted to the different roles as you get healthier and when players come in, Gabe came back also, like your role changes every day. How do you kind of like
it's part of it. It's part of it. We have a talented roster, and I got another quote for y'all. I like to call myself a Swiss Army knife. That's not one thing I do great, but I do everything very well, and I'm very adaptable, and you can put me in any situation. And I think that's what we have to do, and I think Jake has been doing a really good job at that as well. Things are going to change. People come back, people get hurt, people have great games, people have bad games. You have to adjust to whatever the game is calling for.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
How's your pickleball game?
It was not the greatest start for us, unfortunately. We were knocked out pretty early, but it was fun to get together with the guys and the staff and have some time off the court.
Have you played pickleball before?
Never. That was my first time.
Any racket sport?
Played tennis when I was a little younger. Dabbled with a little bit of paddle, how we call it. You've heard of this?
I mean,
I've heard of this, right? Yeah. Dabbled a little bit. You ever heard of it? It's like a racquetball, pickleball blend. It's intense. It's a little faster paced.
Never heard of this.
Really?
No,
Wow.
Pickleball is like new. It's not new, but it's like new enough to me.
I feel like padel is like the largest, fastest growing sport right now.
Interesting.
Globally, maybe.
It took
Don't
over
quote me.
pickleball?
Don't quote me.
It took over pickleball. That was the class
Really?
sport.
I feel like it's just one thing after another. We find something else to entertain.
How do you feel like those kind of team bonding? Like, how do you feel like the team benefits from that, especially during a week where you guys are going like 4 or 5 days without games?
Yeah. I mean, anytime we can get everyone in the same room, I think it's beneficial. Whether it's an activity or a conversation, a movie, film, practice, whatever the case may be. Especially if we can get off the court, just build some more chemistry, build some more symmetry, and just get to know each other a little bit more.
Gabe, gotta ask you about the vibes. I think there was a moment you and Bron dap up, I think at half court, and then maybe the next possession, Bron finds you in the corner 3, everybody stands up. Just speak to that, and then I know there was some dialogue back and forth because I think you did your 3-point celebration, Bron did his. But how has the vibes been amongst the team too as well, and the team camaraderie from the difference from last year to now?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall team camaraderie's been great. The vibes are high. I think I mentioned that before, but guys are just enjoying each other, and obviously winning helps with that. And we make a run, and like I mentioned time and time again, guys have been celebrating each other. So that was a moment where we were, I was celebrating his pass, he was celebrating the made 3. The bench got involved. We had some fun. It was a good run in that third quarter.
How did you make it physically out of that game, like when you first came back?
Oh, I feel great. Yeah, I feel great. It was good. They managed my minutes well. The game went well for me. Body's doing well.
Gotta ask you about AJ Williams and you, 2 Santa Barbara reps. Really cooking up.
AJ Mitchell?
Yeah. Wow. Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
You good?
AJ Mitchell. Yeah. Sorry about that. But you and AJ Mitchell, Santa Barbara coming from there, Big West, a place that doesn't get the credit it deserves in terms of building a product and players. But how do you feel seeing y'all two, really succeed in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great to see how he's been performing. Obviously he's had a great start to the year. He had a good year last year as well, but obviously he's gotten some more opportunity this year and he's been taking advantage of it. Hopefully he doesn't play that good against us, but I mean, I wish him the best, and obviously he's been playing well, so happy for him.
Gabe, you've been an on-ball guard scoring, in the past. This team has a lot of playmaking already, kind of filled at the top with Luka, LeBron, and AR. How do you still stay in offensive rhythm, even though you're kind of playing more, off the ball in your units?
I just try to do my job. I try not to worry about rhythm and all that, and just try to go out there and do my job and put my best foot forward for my guys.
You guys had a PA meeting. Were you involved in terms of leading that too with the PA? Since I know you have, your background with the PA now, but how was that?
I chimed in a little bit, but they kind of just they took care of that meeting for the most part.
Okay.
It's one of the ones every team has to go through, and we check our boxes and go over some things. But it was always good to see people from the PA and get us in front of them and have some conversations and some dialogue. So it was positive. Awesome. Thank you guys.